Hey there, when was the last time you actually saw any, work on any wargaming stuff on this channel, eh? It's, funny, I'm working on stripping out all the paint off of, Wartrack here. It's had 4 dips in simple green, and it's still, I mean, some of these, like these tracks are still fully, take a look here, fully, painted practically. But just goes to show you, if you have a good primer on your plastic minis, the likelihood of getting the paint off is is rather daunting. This one actually had black primer, followed by bolt gun, followed by red. I think it was red, and then green? Or was it green then red? I don't know, maybe it was green then red, I can't remember. I think green might have been the first color, and then red came after that. But as you can see, I mean, simple green got some of it off, but a lot of it's still stuck on there, especially in the crevices and stuff. So I'm resorting to now scraping it off. And I've managed to get this portion done and this portion done, working on the tire. Luckily I had painted pretty much everything primed and bolt gun before I glued it together, so I was able to get a lot of it apart. I'm doing a whole mess of these things, so some of them are better off than others. I mean, this is what one of the drivers looked like after being simple greened 4 times or so. But yeah, I figured I'd be might as well shoot some video while I'm here doing this, because just contemplating the new rules with 6th edition coming out, and you're probably picking up this scratching off of this paint with every stroke. But yeah, I haven't gotten my book yet. It's I didn't pre-order it. But I have been checking out you know, the odd bit here and there online, and talking with some other people. And it's funny because going over things, you know, being orcs as being my primary army, the game seems to have gone more towards advantage towards the shooting aspects. So, you know, anybody who's toting a gun and stuff like that seems to have gotten quite a few little added bonuses. I like the bonuses. I think they make perfect sense. But as I'm going through things and thinking about it, for an army such as the orcs, which relies heavily on hand-to-hand, I'm not so sure I'm liking a lot of the new rules. The random charge length, I haven't really decided how I feel about that. It's one of those things. On average, I think it works out to be more and better, but the fact of the matter is, even if you're playing within the regular, you know, old type rules or scenarios and stuff, and getting yourself within the 6 inches, anything 6 inches or above means you're okay. That was fine. So anything above 6 inches, you know, whether it's the average of 7 or not, really only comes into a play if you're further than 6 inches in the first place. Because outside of that, it generally becomes negated because you're going to be into hand-to-hand combat at that point. So that benefit is only a benefit if you happen to be trying to do it and you're outside of the 6-inch range. But everything that's below that, the 1 to 5s, which, 2 being the lowest you can get, for an orc, that's not great, because really that just puts you in that position where they just get to gun you down, and with the emphasis on shooting now, that's not a good thing. But yeah, I mean it actually, and really, I mean, as an orc player, I wouldn't play that way anyways. If I was doing tournaments, that's not the way I'd be playing it. But orcs have always been one of those armies where having that massive tide of orcs going across the table has always been something that an option, and I don't really think that it's as much of an option now, especially including with the new cover rules. You used to be able to get a good portion of your orcs into cover and not have to worry about the rest of them because they weren't affected. But when you're running groups of 30 boys, or 20 boys as I would say probably average, because 30 starts getting a little cumbersome on the battlefield, if you only get, say, half of them into cover, half of them are still in the open and they can be fired at directly now. So really that giant horde of orcs, swarms that the Codex describes as a viable option for an orc army, really, if you started fielding something like that, I don't know that it would work so well in these new rules. What it does tend to lend itself, and I think this goes for all armies, is more vehicles. Be it, fast skimmers and stuff like that, or, large armored divisions. And while I was, discussing with friends, I think it was just a couple of days ago about that, they were saying they thought it would be easier and stuff to take out tanks. I didn't really think so, because with every armor point, sure, your glancings and stuff add up, and yes, you can take out a tank easily that way, but the fact of the matter is, if you got, say, a glancing hit before, there was a good chance, it may not have, obviously it wouldn't have destroyed the vehicle, but there was a good chance you could have severely reduced the effectiveness of a vehicle. With the new rules, there's a good chance that vehicle's not, it's not going to do anything. It removes one hull point. You remove one hull point, it does nothing. The vehicle still works and functions as normal on the next turn. So yeah, I don't know. I would think the orc army standard thing of battle wagons full of boys is probably the way to go. Still the way to go. I mean, I can't see playing an orc army any other way. But yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe I'm wrong. What do you guys think? Do you think the standard troops in transports is going to be the same all the way around, or are more armies going to be going taking their troops out of transports? I don't know. With orcs, I can't see them doing anything else, especially with, say, throwing mech boys in all of your transports and stuff, because their mech tools, if you successfully roll, put a hull point back. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Without seeing the actual rules themselves, I haven't perhaps gotten a full grasp of how things are working, but that's the way I kind of gathered it was going. And with that being said, what do you guys think? What do you think of the new rules? Is there anything in there that you particularly don't like? Yeah, I don't know that there's anything I really don't like, but I do think, like I said, that there's been a shift to shooting and possibly, though, the vehicle thing. I'll have to play some games using the new rules. I'm not too sure about that one, but just on the surface, I have a tendency to think that vehicles may be able to last longer. And if that's the case, vehicles and shooting is going to be the way to go, and any army that's geared towards that will be having an advantage. And anybody who's a foot slogging army and who kind of relies on hand-to-hand combat kind of got the, I don't know, they just didn't. It's hard to say. I think they're more likely to have to count on luck rather than all out, standard strategy. There's a sense of randomness to their ability at this point. Yeah, I don't know. Now, they did add in the psychic stuff, but again, as an orc player, that doesn't help. And from what I haven't looked over everything there with the psychic things, obviously, without having the book, but from what I can gather, those psychic abilities in the book really don't benefit any army, because any army that can use it has better psychic abilities in their book. So that makes me wonder if, considering they put out the psychic cards and stuff, like a full deck of cards and stuff, I don't know what's in those either. I'd have to look at that. I'm wondering if there's going to be a shift from the psychic abilities in the codexes and how they work, or if the new codexes as they come out start nerfing those psychic abilities. That was another thing I was talking to my buddy about. It was whether psychic abilities going forward in terms of codexes are going to start seeing them getting nerfed, and having more reliance on everybody having similar psychic abilities as the books, or if armies are going to have to literally pick from the book, because I guess the book allows you to play without having a codex. I mean, I guess that's always been one of the main objectives of the main rule book, but it seems so odd that you would have the rule book, because it clearly states that you should get the codex to whatever army you are going to play. So that being the case, why would you put psychic abilities that nobody could ever use? It's not like the book wasn't big enough already. It wasn't like you were filling space. Yeah. You know what? I don't know. But I do know is that cleaning off this paint is a pain in my derriere. And it's going to take me a while. But it's all part of getting ready for 6th edition and getting my army back up. Not that really a war track is any better now than it was before. But yeah, just wondering what you guys think out there. Do you like the new rules? Do they help your army? What army do you play, really? Are you on board with me in terms of what I'm thinking? Because, I mean, you probably already have your book, so you've probably read over it. You probably even played some matches using it. But yeah, I don't know. I think as an Orc player, that the whole idea of that big mountain of green going across the board, I don't think it's going to happen as much anymore. At least not for anybody playing in a tournament. But hey, all of you guys out there doing Math Hammer, you guys seem to know better than anybody else, right? So leave your comments in the doobly-doo. Let me know what you think. Until I get my book, I'm just speculating. For Mordaka 101, this is Rob, signing off.